It's time for the One Bar and Lupagus Show, bringing you anything and everything Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to professional football.
All right, welcome to the One Bar and Lupagus Show. I am Lupagus, and we are back together again. It feels so damn good. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. You look nice.
Well, technically, I'm battling some adult acne here. I got
Oh my.
Got an owie there. I'm just trying to cover it up with my hat. So all is well, though. Otherwise,
you look tan. You been getting some sun?
Nope.
I'm just kidding. You look like a ghost.
I generally do.
All right. Well, today we're gonna ask one question about each offensive group on the Minnesota Vikings. One burning question. Yeah, look at that. But before we get into that, be sure to subscribe to our channel, like our vids. We are still on the precipice of 500 subscribers, and man, would it be nice to hit that before June 1st.
Some say we might be on the cusp.
Yeah, I think we are on the cusp, ready to blow.
And when we get to that 500, we're going to do a video. We're going to be popping bubbly. We're going to be celebrating, and I can't wait.
I know you don't do shots. How do you do when you have champagne?
No, not a problem.
Not a problem?
Not a problem.
All right, good.
Before we get into this, so we got to start off with a little trivia.
Hell yeah.
Little trivia. So one of the positions that we're going to be talking about, obviously, will be quarterback. So I'm going to give you a multiple choice this time. Right now, out of these three guys, who threw the most touchdowns in their college career? Nate Stanley, Jake Browning, or Sean Mannion?
Wow.
The answer will blow your mind. Stick around to the end for that beautiful answer.
I got my horse, and I'm putting everything on him.
I know who your horse is. All right, let's do this.
I'm not going to reveal it. All right, so let's start. So we're going to talk about each group, position group on offense, ask one question about that. I guess the biggest question going into the season, going into the preseason about it right now. So let's start with quarterback, where the question isn't that intense, I guess, of the word, but I think the biggest question surrounding the group of quarterbacks right now is who is going to be that third quarterback, and will that third quarterback be an active member of the team or just a practice squatter?
Wow. Yeah, last year we only had 2 on the active roster, and damn it, I think we're only going to roll with 2 again. And I think the practice squatter will be Nate Stanley. And before you get your answer, I think that the number 2 quarterback is still mildly not solid.
I'm not a Sean Mannion fan. I think I made that known, but for some reason the Vikings love him. Apparently he is a great ear to Kirk Cousins during games. Like he has some, I don't know what it is, knowledge.
Did you say great offense. Rear?
No, he doesn't have a great rear. He's got a kind of a slumpy butt on him. Pants don't fit that tight. So I think he's going to be the number 2 quarterback. I don't think from a talent standpoint he's any better than what those young guys have, but I'm going to stick with Jake Browning. I don't know. I'm not sold on Nate Stanley. I like, Browning's a little more mobile. He can throw in the run. I like that. He's a little bit of a gunslinger. So I'm sticking with Browning, but I think it's really a toss-up. And I do agree with you that they will both be on the practice squad, or whoever makes it will be on the practice squad.
Yeah, there is no reason to keep one of those guys on the active roster. The thought of getting rid of somebody else in the secondary, defensive line, offensive line, just to keep one of those 2 guys doesn't make sense. So I think that is a home run.
All right. What do you got for running back? Do that
running
next.
Back, the big burning question for Vikings fans is, will the Vikings extend Dalvin Cook before the start of the season?
Yeah, that is a burning question. That's a hot topic. One of my favorite stories growing up. And the thing here and why you want to get it done before the season would be if he's going to hold out. I don't think there's really any indications at this point that he's going to do that or has shown any intention that that's what he's going to do. But man, it would surely suck if Cook holds out to start the season. You hate to see that. It just, it sucks from a fantasy point. It sucks from just a Vikings overall season, how much this guy brings to the offense. I know Alexander Mattison has plenty of pop. Mike Boone has shown enough too, but Dalvin Cook's a whole nother animal. He can turn games around. He can explode at any second.
And just to be clear, I don't give 2 shits about the fantasy impact.
I know. I'm just saying. You hate to see that. When Zeke did that last year, I just
still took him.
You did.
I think I don't think the Vikings are going to extend him. I'm going the other way. I think something would have gotten done by now. You don't even really hear any rumblings about it. Dalvin Cook so far is playing ball. He's going to those virtual meetings, whatever they are. I just think it would have been done. I think they go into it. I think they get a little risky. if they didn't have Madison on the roster, maybe they get something done sooner. But worst case is they don't get something done. He plays the season, franchise his ass next year if they really want him back that bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're assuming he's not going to hold out though, and like you said, there's Madison there who can take the load, but I don't know, just an ugly situation if it does get to that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've said it before. I'm kind of impartial. If they re-sign him, great. If they don't, it's not going to keep me up at night.
All right, let's move on to wide receiver. And I think the biggest question facing the wide receiver group this season is really how the depth chart is going to shake out. How do you see it shaking out at this point?
Well, I think we got Thielen and Jefferson are going to be our big boys there, 1 and 2. And I think BC Johnson will actually hold down that number 3 spot. And I think Tajay Sharp is going to stick on the roster. He's very cheap. And I think he settles in nicely at the number 4. And when it comes to the 5th receiver, it is our stud, KJ Osborne, and that's it.
I think they just keep 5, huh?
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep 6, and I think actually it's going to be well, it all depends on how quick Justin Jefferson is to pick up the offense. If he, a lot of times rookie receivers, it takes them a while. And if that happens with Jefferson, I can see Tajay Sharp being the 2, BC the 3, and then Jefferson being the 4th, at least early. That could change midseason. I think Courtney Davis is going to be that undrafted. I think he's going to be the 5th guy. I think he's a much more polished receiver, ready to go than KJ Osborne is. But I do think Osborne hangs around as the 6th. I think they keep 6 this year. You look at last year, there really wasn't more than 4 worth keeping. This year's a different story. There's a lot more depth. It's not as top heavy as last year, but there's a lot more depth from top to bottom here. And I think the competition for his last 2 spots is going to be very intense in camp this year. It should be an exciting battle.
It's going to be very fun to watch at the bottom of that depth chart. It was even last year, even though they kept like 3. They started the season with like 4 receivers?
4 receivers, yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. So it will be very fun to watch. Courtney Davis, I'm definitely pulling for him. Even though he didn't make my list, I'm pulling for the guy.
Yeah, I think he's about as much of a lock as an undrafted rookie can be, whatever that means.
Wow. All right, let's talk tight end. Is this officially the year in his year number 2 where Irv Smith overtakes Kyle Rudolph as the Vikings' top tight end target?
Well, I think it depends on what you're considering the top tight end. You're looking at receptions, yardage, because I could definitely see him overtaking Rudolph in those 2 areas this year. You look at last year, Smith had, I don't know, it seemed like at least 5 plays where he had a huge gain. It was called back due to like a Pat Elflein hold, or he was tripped up. Yeah, or he was just tripped up with an ankle tackle where he was about to break a big one. So I think from a yardage standpoint and a reception standpoint, definitely. I still think Rudolph's going to get way more touchdowns than Irv. I think that's just what he does right now. He's a red zone target. Kirk Cousins trusts him, and I think he'll win there. So 2/3, yeah. I think at the end of the year, you can say Irv Smith Jr. will be the top tight end on this roster.
We'll put it this way. Let's say it's 3rd and 11 from the Vikings 48-yard line. What tight end are you putting out there?
Actually, in that situation, they could put Kyle Rudolph out there. A little more trustworthy.
Wow. All right. I'm going with yes. I think Irv Smith overtakes Kyle Rudolph at some point this season. I think he actually overtook him in the back half of last season. Irv, he's going to be the real deal. Like you said, he had a lot of plays called back last year. Rookie tight ends, it's very rare they come on and do something big right off the bat anyways. And I think he exceeded expectations as a rookie. In year 2, I think he's going to blow those numbers out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hope so.
Sploosh.
They're going to need him. Without Diggs, they're going to need him. Provide some big plays.
Who's Diggs? Never heard of him.
Jesus. All right. Offensive tackles next. And I think the big question surrounding the O-tackles this year is it's all about that second-round rookie we took, Ezra Cleveland. How long will it take this Boise State man to be a starter this year?
I'm going to say 2021.
You don't think he plays at all, huh?
I think barring an injury, he will be our backup left tackle. The fact that Riley Reif is still on the roster, unless they pull that shit where they move him to guard or something like that, there's no reason. If Reif isn't the guy, they would have cut him. I mean, we got Rashad Hill. I mean, we got some decent tackles there. So I think he's on the bench. I hope he actually does stay on the bench. I want him to get a whole season, get nice and ready for 2021, and I think he'll be our boy.
You know, it's funny you say that because I remember having the same conversation with you a couple of years ago when Brian O'Neill came into town. I think you said the same thing. You didn't think he was going to start. I think I actually predicted him to be a Vikings Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, you
he
did.
Started pretty much from day one, and I think I don't know if Cleveland will start from day one, but I bet you he comes in halfway through the season, becomes a starter. Especially if the guards struggle early. If Pat Elflein is what he's been the last year and a half, again, they look to move Riley Reif inside, put Cleveland out there at left tackle. It can't be any worse. So I do think he comes in. I'm going to put about 8 games started for Cleveland this year.
Well, you're right. You did nail the Brian O'Neill, but I think that, I mean, it was because of injury, right?
Well, not a major one. I think he actually earned it.
Just give me this. Give me this.
I don't even remember who was there.
Either do I. Right tackle a couple of years ago. Holy cow. That should have been the trivia question. I'm drawing a blank.
Rashad Hill.
It might have been. I'm going to look at this. Go on to the next one.
All right, so guard. And this is a lot like the wide receiver. How is this guard depth chart going to shake out? There really isn't any there's no stud player in this group. There's a lot of unknowns from top to bottom. This is a very mysterious group of players, and how it ends up shaking out at the end of the preseason is a total mystery.
You said there's no stud player. I say there's no stud player yet. Got that, mister?
That's fair.
I'm going to be real generic on this one. I think it's just Pat Elflein and Drew Samia, what everybody is kind of expecting. And even though nobody wants Pat Elflein to be our starting left guard, unless they get fancy moving Riley Reif, moving Ezra Cleveland around, I can't see it any other way. I can't. And behind them, we'll have Dakota Dozier. We got some rookies, but it's not great.
It's not. You know, there's been talk about Oli Udo going inside. That's a possibility, but he's got no experience. And with the shortened preseason, he's already lost reps and time to make that adjustment. So I think that puts a little bit of a gray cloud over that. I think you're right. I think it's Elflein and Samia, and the Vikings pray that pans out. It's just there's so much inexperience in this group. You know, DeCosier, when he started, I don't know. He seems to be way worse when he starts than when he comes off the bench. So I'm not super excited about him. There's Bush Jones, guard center, who's done nothing. Then it's just a bunch of young guys, and not just young guys. We're talking late round pick and a bunch of undrafted players. So it's an ugly position.
It is, and I think we're just going to have to deal with it for another year, and we just have to hope and pray that Pat Elflein saw the light and shows up as
well. He's got a little money motivation this year. Contract.
Yeah,
do that again?
I hope that lights a fire up his ass. I did look at the 2018 roster to find out who this right tackle he beat out was, and yeah, I think you're right. Not much there. Mike Remmers was on the roster for a little bit. Maybe it was him.
Oh, maybe it was Remmers. Might have been.
But that pretty much locks up our offense, don't it?
Unless there's a position I don't know about.
There's probably a lot of positions you don't know about.
I guess we could have talked about fullback, but I don't think there's anything to talk about there.
There's nothing to talk about. Those are our burning questions. And the answer to my burning question, which quarterback threw the most touchdowns in their college career, Nate Stanley, Jake Browning, or Sean Mannion? What's your guess?
Well, I remember looking at this guy's stats, and there was a couple years where he just threw an insane amount of touchdowns, and I'm going to go with Jake Browning.
Wow, you're right. You're right. It's not only Jake Browning. It's Jake Browning by a damn landslide.
Yeah.
He beat out the next guy. Sean Mannion had 83. Jake Browning had 94. And Nate Stanley coming in dead ass last at 68 touchdowns.
Jesus. Wow. With all those weapons he had those 2 tight ends. You think you throw a little more touchdowns than that.
No,
hey, I'm 2 for 2 right now. What do I get? Any prizes?
Our 500th subscriber. You get a prize when I pop open that bubbly all over your chest.
Damn. All right, so we're going to leave you guys a little fact here to chew on. I know this is a term I use a lot, and I didn't realize it was actually a unit of measurement, but the term buttload is actually, it equals 477 liters.
How much does your buttload equal?
A lot of zits.